Hey there YouTube, this is Blackmanta here to give you my little guide on the Pulverize Druid. As you can see, I have my level 100 Druid here. I leveled pretty much from level 50 or 48 up to 100 using the Pulverize build. Pretty much the build that you're going to see here. First up here, we're going to go over the abilities and my skill tree. I pretty much used the basic skill tree from the D4 builds.gg build set for the pulverized build. I didn't deviate at all on this current rendition of my build. Um, you can get this at the D4 builds.gg. It is pretty much the basic pulverized build for your skill tree. As for the Paragon tree, I went a lot differently. Um, the difference here is going to be I didn't blink from here to here. Instead, I also didn't use the part here. I went down here and got more earth skill damage. It saved me a Paragon point, which allowed me to put some points in some other places. Um, Other than that, most of the stuff is the same here. I will post a link in the comments below so you can just go into D4 Builds and see the exact tree that I'm running here. The basic glyphs I'm using the Exploit for the vulnerability, the Spirit for the extra core damage, Werebear for more damage in Werebear, and the Territorial, which is going to give more damage to close targets. And then lastly, I'm using the Fortified increased damage because the big part of the damage in this build is coming from my Fortify. Also, as you can see, one of the aspects here. So first thing here is we're going to look over the basic itemization. First up here, I will go over the two uniques that I am using. The first one here is Vasil's Prayer. Um, it's essentially the reason you're using this. It has big overpowered damage on it, which is nice. I do have a perfect roll on that. Um, and a lot of helmets in this game do not have plus to damage, just the regular ones. So getting damage on your helm is something that you normally don't find elsewhere. The big thing on here is your Earth skills are now also Werebear skills and fortify you for 9 to 18 life. The reason this is so important, it allows me to stay in werebear form when I use Earth Spike. If you do not have this unique, do not fear. You can still run this build. The only difference is you're not going to be able to use Earth Spike. You want to stay in werebear form the entirety of the time you are running this build. So what you would want to do is you would want to go to your skill tree, and then you would want to take the points out of Earth Spike and just put them into Maul. Um, this is going to give you the ability to regen your resources with a way other than just from your itemization. Uh, the reason we like Earth Spike is that it is ranged. It has a 35% chance to lucky hit versus the only 30% chance on Maul. Maul's also melee. You have to get right up to the monsters to hit them. On the very hardest sigils I've tried so far, I've done a tier 61. It wasn't too bad, but I really don't, even though I do have a ton of HP, 16k unfortified, that will go up to 32k once it's fortified. Plus, I have a shield that I also use, like an overshield, and I will get into that later. So it is pretty important, but not necessary. I would say if you were using another helmet, the main things that you would want on it is definitely the max life. and maybe even the aspect um, that also gives a barrier, um, or even disobedience. Disobedience is a good one. It will give you percent armor up to 45, as a number, up to a percentage. I think up to 50% if you have a perfect roll. So that would increase our armor by 2,800 roughly. That's really good also. And I may even take this out and since it looks like I may not need a resource generator all the time on this build, uh, we'll we could maybe be able to switch that out for something else. The one thing that's really good on this also, since it has 2 damage buffs on here, and it's the high health. My build is built around sustainability and survivability. Um, my numbers aren't going to be 10 million. They're constantly a million though. The damage is, and the damage stays pretty constant. Next up here, we're going to look at the Insatiable Fury chest. This is required for the build. It keeps you in wearable form the entirety of the time, so that you get all of your werebear bonuses all the time, including the damage reduction you're getting from your passives from your Paragon tree. Um, and the +2 to all werebear skills is very good. It also has damage on it, something you don't see in a lot of chests. This one for me has perfect fortified damage reduction and a almost perfect total armor and werebear roll. This was a very good roll for me. Next up here is the gloves. In my glove slot, I am using the Pulverize, is now an Earth skill. After casting Pulverize, Tectonic Spikes continue to deal 4,179 damage, which as you can see is an overroll. I'm not sure what's going on right now. There are 2 items I'm going to show you that have overrolls, rolls higher than it says the max roll is possible. I don't know why it's possible, but once I hit level 100 and I went back to just check the codex at the inscriber, the guy who puts the aspects onto your items, this was available at double the stat than it was before. I don't know why that is. It could be a bug. I'm unsure. But as of right now, it is very good, and I can't not use it. Um, that's everything around me will then uh, do a bunch of spikes of damage. It is very good for when enemies are very close to you. The ranks of Pulverize on here, very important. Pulverize is your main attack. You want +4. At a lower number, still good, especially if you're still leveling. But it is definitely important. Lucky Hit for chance to restore primary resource. I really like having as much resource as possible, so Lucky Hit 5% chance does help keep my spirit up at maximum. Lucky Hit chance to heal 936 life. A mid roll there. This is very nice. I don't use Temerity. Temerity is another item that gives you this bonus. And the specific Lucky Hit bonus, where it's like a life steal essentially, life on hit uh, attribute. And it is very good, especially when you're hitting a lot of mobs. And the overheal on Temerity, which gives you a bonus shield, is also very nice. I'll get into why I don't use Temerity in a second here, but that is also very good. And then Crit Strike, the more you crit, the better. That's usually a given here. I'm up to around, I think, a 37.5% crit chance, which is almost, you know, about 1 out of 3, a little bit more than 1 out of 3 of all my attacks always crit. Next up here, I am using these legs here. And the main aspect here that I'm using on this is the Earthen Bulwark is increased by 6 seconds. In addition, killing enemies will replenish that shield for 597. As you can see, that's also greater than the range shown. Not sure what it's there. I hit, as I said, hit level 100. Went to the Inspect Inscriber, and it was still to this day, if I check, uh, allowing me to roll it higher. Even then, the ones that I get from dungeons are always in that range. The inscriber is the only way I can get them above the range. Um, So the stats on here, it's a low damage reduction, but damage reduction is very important for this build, as in because you're trying to be as tanky as possible. This was the only damage modifier I saw in Pants, the 36 damage for 4 seconds after killing an elite. That just seemed like an extra bonus, something I'm going to be looking for in the future instead of something like that. If I don't see meaningful, you know, damage or from that because it's not happening very often just because of the mob density seems a little low right now. Uh, would be something that would increase all stats. Particularly, I see a lot of builds not put these in that kind of stat in there, and I'll show you why I think all stats is going to be good or is being underutilized. Um, so if you see here, there's a lot of things like so obviously I'm far away. That needs 100 and about 60 more intelligence to get that special bonus. But some of these special bonuses, I've gotten pretty close to getting. This one I do have because I have enough dexterity. This one, I'm only 50 points away. So if I could get 50 points of intelligence, I'm getting another 15% damage there. Uh, Again, another 50 intelligence, and I'm getting another 15% crit strike with Earth skills. Um, I think these ones are all met, yeah. But as you can see, it may be just intelligence I need here. Before I was lacking dexterity also, so I was thinking that I may need both. But it looks like I'm just needing the intelligence now, so I'll look for like an intelligence roll or a all stats roll great enough to push me over the limit, so I also am getting these extra little bonuses here that you don't always get on things. So when I see some items like that where I'm getting an item, just not getting a lot of use out of that 36% damage after killing an elite. Usually the elite's probably the last guy in the pack. What's the point of having 36% damage after everything's dead for 4 seconds? If I'm really speed running, then yeah. If I'm doing a really high sigil, sometimes you can only go so fast. Not very useful if that's the case. We're still running it to see what's going on, but definitely seems okay. But I might switch that out in the future. I currently can't roll it on this build on this set. I've already rolled the total armor on the bottom to be on there. Total armor is also always good. That's why we're running that. The more armor, more damage reduction. Uh, with the huge HP pool and the fortify and all the shields. We're trying to be as unkillable as possible. You'll see even in these high level sigils, even with all the armor and all the damage reduction and everything, I still take damage at a decent rate sometimes. Also have big max roll life on there. Max life is going to increase your fortify. Fortify is going to increase my damage through another one of the aspects.